Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the regular special meeting of the Liquor Commission for April 15th, 2019. Please rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Clerk Simpson.
Commissioner Vito?
Here.
Commissioner Papantos?
Present.
Commissioner Lang?
Here.
Commissioner Kruger?
Present.
Commissioner Vogel?
Here.
Chairperson Horker.
Yes, you have before you the minutes of the special meeting of the Liquor Commission for March 4th, 2019. I need a motion for their approval.
So moved.
Motion, Trustee Lang. Second, Trustee Papantos. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Vito?
Yes.
Commissioner Papantos?
Yes.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Chairperson Horker.
Yes. Citizens' comments and concerns. Clerk Simpson.
There are none.
Move right into the meat of the matter. New business.
Hearing in the matter of Prop Station Incorporated, DBA PS Pub, B&L Liquors, 767 West Dundee Road, docket number 1901.
Mr. Ferrollo.
Certainly, Mr. President, we have three hearings before the Liquor Commission tonight that will be introduced by our prosecutor, Attorney Hyman. So with that, Attorney, please present your case relative to the three matters before the board.
My name is Hyman Riebman, R-I-E-B-M-A-N, and I am representing the Chief of Police, Son, at this time in the presentation in the matter of the liquor license of Prop Station Incorporated doing business as B&L Liquors, doing business as PS Pub. This is docket number 1901. And the notice has been given, petition has been served, and I believe that there are parties here from Prop Station. Is that correct? Mr. Bastone? Yeah. Can you step up, please? Stand right here. Speak up loud so that everybody here can hear you, okay? Okay. Can I ask that the witness be sworn?
Can we have him speak closer to the microphone, please, so we can hear you?
I'm going to slide over here.
Yep.
Here you go.
We have two live mics there. Counsel, okay, you're good.
You hear me now?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Will you please state your name and spell your last name?
Yeah, Michael Bastone, B-A-S-T-O-N-E.
And Mr. Bastone, are you the principal and owner of a company called Prop Station Incorporated, doing business as B&L Liquors, doing business as PS Pub?
Yep.
And I'm going to call your attention to the date of January 22nd, 2019. Did an event take place at your business on that date at approximately 4:50 p.m.?
Yes.
And you are familiar with the petition that's been filed in this case, is that correct?
Yes.
And you've had an opportunity to read that petition, is that correct?
Yes.
And you've had an opportunity, in fact, to discuss that petition with me, is that correct?
Yes.
And with regard to the allegations which allege that William Gillard, one of your employees, did not ask for identification from a minor on that date and that location at your business, how are you pleading to that charge tonight? Guilty or not guilty?
I'm guilty.
Okay, so you're admitting the events that are alleged in that petition,
Yes.
is that correct?
Yep.
And with regard to the events that took place, is Mr. Gillard still working at your business?
Yes.
And what, if anything, what, if any, actions took place after this occurrence took place?
We just had to reprimand him somehow, so he couldn't work either behind the bar or like serve customers until after the court case or, you know, the court.
So this took place from the time of the event till the time of the court date?
Right.
In fact, at the court date,
It was about a month. He didn't really.
Right.
Yeah.
And he pleaded guilty and he paid a fine of approximately $244, fines and costs. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe so, yes.
Okay. I have, with regard to the, your BASA certificates, do you have them with you or available?
I
for the
could get them.
commission?
I do have some, but I don't have a copy of them.
Okay, thank you very much. One last thing I'm going to mark as the petitioner's exhibit. One for identification. I have a certified copy of the statement of conviction that took place on February 26th, 2019 in the Circuit Court of Cook County in Rolling Meadows. And I've marked that and I've given that to the court reporter.
Okay.
And is there anything else that you wish to say at this time?
No, just in, by all rights, it was wrong, obviously. We've been doing this for 21 years. Knock on wood, we haven't any instances, but the problem is, this gentleman, lost his father just previously, like a couple weeks before. And everyone's gone through a loss. I'm sure that everyone understands. I'm not making an excuse for him. He still did wrong. Just that, he was probably a little fogged because of that, in a funk. So that's why we kept him working. He's still with us, but we just want to make sure that, he's been in the business longer than I have. So, brain fart.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Commission? Commissioner Papantos?
Thank you. Are all your employees who serve and/or sell Bassett trained?
Yes.
Thank you.
That's all. Attorney Reedman, would you like to move your exhibit into evidence?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Would you like to move your exhibit into evidence?
At this time, I'd ask that the petitioner's exhibit number 1 for identification, that be stricken, the identification be stricken and be admitted into evidence.
It will be.
As petitioner's 1.
It will be so admitted.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Item B.
Item B, yes.
Item B, hearing in the matter of Jazz Café Incorporated, doing business as Jazz Café, 250 McHenry Road, docket number 1902.
Mr. Ferrolo?
Certainly, this is an alleged violation of liquor license holder Jazz Café Incorporated. Attorney Reedman, please make your presentation.
This is the liquor license of the Jazz Café Incorporated, doing business as a Jazz Café, docket number 19-2. And the Chief of Police, James Dunn, comes forward to this attorney, the village prosecutor, and petitions the Liquor Control Commission to hold a hearing with regard to these matters. And we step up and speak up loud so that the commission can hear you, okay?
Yes.
And can I ask that you swear the witness in, please? All right. And will you state your name, please?
Sergey Dimenchuk.
Okay. Mr. Dimenchuk, can you spell your last name for the court reporter, please?
My last name?
Yes.
Dimenchuk.
Can you spell it for the court reporter?
Yes. D-E-M-I-A-N-C-H-U.
Okay. And Mr. Dimenchuk, are you the owner of or principal agent of the liquor of the Jazz Cafe, doing business as the Jazz Cafe?
Yes.
Sir,
And-
could you speak into the mic, please?
I'm sorry.
Mr. Dimachek.
Okay.
Okay.
Why don't you step a little closer and I'll just step over here,
All right.
okay? And now you were served with a petition to come before the Liquor Control Commission for a hearing on these matters. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you received a copy of the petition. Is that correct?
Yes.
And did you read the copy of that petition?
Yes.
And do you understand that petition?
Sure.
And with regard to the allegations, which took place on January 22nd, Mikola Tekelakan, spelled T-E-L-E-C-H-K-A-N, how is it pronounced?
Telechkan.
Kelechkan, was an employee of yours. Is that correct?
Correct.
And approximately 6 o'clock on that evening, did somebody come in who you now know later on you found out was a minor under the age of 21?
Yes.
And in fact, you admit the allegations that alcohol was sold to that minor, even though a valid Illinois identification card was given, that person, that young person was under the age of 21, is that correct?
Yes.
So you are admitting the allegations in this offense, is that correct?
Yes.
And in fact, your employee, Ms. Telecommunicators, appeared in the Circuit Court of Cook County, and she pleaded guilty to the allegations in the Circuit Court based on a state offense, is that correct?
Yes.
And is that employee still working with you?
Yes.
And what, if anything, what, if any, actions did you take with regard to her reactions on that date after this event?
He goes again the best certificate. It's meeting and he understand everything what he did. He checked actually ID, but he had no clue what he did. You know, he just checked the pictures maybe, not the ages.
Okay,
It's just like automatic mistake.
all right. Okay, and is there anything that you wish to say?
We stay in the business almost 10 years, and we never have any problems, and I hope it's not going to be anymore.
And I'm going to mark as the petitioner's exhibit number 1 for identification, a certified statement of conviction and disposition of the agent of the Jazz Café who pleaded guilty before Judge Beatrice Santiago on February 26th and was fined $244. Do you have any objection to my admitting this into, asking that it be admitted into evidence? Okay.
Questions from the commission? Mr. Ferrollo?
Exhibit 1 will be admitted into evidence. Thank you.
I'll go strike the identification and ask that it be admitted as exhibit number 1.
Item C.
Item C.
Item C, hearing in the matter of D'Agostino Pizzeria Wheeling Incorporated doing business as D'Agostino Pizzeria, 241 South Milwaukee Avenue, docket number 1903.
Docket number 1903 relates to an alleged liquor service violation relating to D'Agostino's restaurant in Wheeling. Attorney Riedman, please present your case.
Mr. D'Agostino? Step up, please. I'm going to have you speak in there and speak up loud. And before we do that, I'm going to ask that the court reporter swear you in. I do. So Hyman Riedman representing James Dunn, the Chief of Police for the Village of Wheeling, with regard to this petition before the Liquor Control Commission of the Village of Wheeling to hold a hearing regarding the facts alleged in the petition docket number 1903. And this is in the matter of the liquor license of D'Agostino's, D-A-G-O-S-T-I-N-O-S, Pizzeria, Wheeling Incorporated, doing business as D'Agostino's Pizzeria. And will you state your name, please?
Jeffrey D'Agostino.
And Mr. D'Agostino, are you the owner, principal of D'Agostino's Pizza in Wheeling?
I am, sir.
And are you familiar with the petition that's been filed by the Chief of Police?
Yes, sir.
And have you read through that petition?
Yes, sir.
And do you admit the allegations that are in that petition?
I do, sir.
In fact, on January 28th, you had an employee by the name of Randall J. Willis, is that correct?
Correct.
And he was a server, he was an employee at your restaurant, is that correct?
He was a driver. He's a delivery
He
driver.
was a delivery. So somebody ordered food to be delivered to the Westin Hotel at about 3:44 p.m. on January 28th, 2019, is that correct?
Other than the time, everything is correct. I believe it was a little bit later in the day than that, but
He did arrive,
Yeah, close enough.
Yeah, Mr. Willis arrived approximately 4:05 at the lobby of the hotel, is that correct?
Correct, sir.
And he brought with him some food, and he brought 1 6-pack of Bud Light beer, is that correct?
Yep,
And he
correct.
went into the lobby and he met the person that had purportedly ordered this, is that correct?
That is correct.
And he asked for an identification from that person who we know now, and you've admitted, was under the age of 21, is that correct?
Correct.
And while they showed a valid Illinois identification card, it had a date of birth indicating that that person was a minor and under the age of 21. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And Mr. Willis sold the alcohol nonetheless. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct, sir.
Okay. And I'm going to mark as the petitioner's exhibit number 1, a certified statement of conviction and disposition, because in fact, Mr. Willis did go to court and did admit and plead guilty to the charges on January 26, 2019, before Judge Beatrice Santiago. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And he was fined approximately $244. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And since the time that that took place, have there been any type of sanctions or discussions that you've had with Mr. Willis?
Definitely conversations with them reiterating how important this is, that they check thoroughly. He did check the ID, apparently incorrectly, for whatever reason. It was a vertical license, I'm aware of, which should have been a dead giveaway. There's no excuse. He completely blew it, and we do the best we can to make sure that they know how important this is. This is super serious violation that we take extremely seriously. I don't know what else to say. I mean, I feel terrible about it. I'm sorry for it, and it shouldn't have happened. It's the bottom line. It just shouldn't have happened.
Okay, I have nothing further. I would mark as the petitioner's exhibit number 1 for identification the certified copy of conviction, and ask that it be admitted into evidence before this commission.
It's so admitted.
Any questions from the commission? Trustee Commissioner Papantos?
Thank you. Are your delivery drivers PASA trained?
Yes.
Okay. And what is the procedure when somebody calls for a delivery and it includes alcohol?
In what regard?
Okay,
need
so
a
if
little
I
bit
call
more.
in,
would
do you
call,
tell
could
me-
just order. You have to be 21, obviously.
So
to
is
be able
that-
to accept
is
it.
that
The
told-
driver is supposed to card the person that is accepting the order, and, I mean, that's as simple as it is.
I'm just wondering if somebody calls in and they say, and I want a pizza and a six-pack,
Exactly what happened.
do they, when they're on the phone, does the order taker say, you will be carded at that point?
Absolutely,
So
yes.
they are
Yes.
told at that point,
You need
too.
to provide a valid ID.
Okay. Thank you.
I have no other examination.
Thank you, Commissioner Vito.
Are your delivery drivers pretty, I guess, transient? Do you go through a lot of delivery drivers?
No,
Okay,
We
so they're there for a while?
typically,
Have you been
Typically.
selling a lot of alcohol on delivery?
no.
All right, I'm just thinking maybe it's not worth it.
No.
But, yeah, okay.
You know, it's more there as to sell the food. You know, it's just an amenity that if you did want it, it's there. So,
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner Vito. Thank
I
you.
have a question. Do you have a written policy regarding the sale of alcohol that you disseminate to your employees? Do you have a policy in place?
yes,
You
we do. I don't have it with me, but I can
Okay,
provide it to you if you'd like.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. No other questions. That concludes that. Do you want to do the St. Joe's, or do you want to recess to?
No, we should close these out.
All right. We need a motion to recess into executive session to discuss the evidence and testimony presented before us. I need that motion.
So moved.
Motion, Commissioner Lang.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Vogel. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Vito?
Yes.
Commissioner Papantos?
Yes.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Chairperson Horker?
It is 6:49. We will recess into executive session. We'll be back as quickly as we can.
Okay.
Okay, everybody, I'd like to call, reconvene into open session at 7:03. Need a motion to reopen regular
So
session?
moved.
Motion trustee, Commissioner Kruger, second.
Second.
Commissioner Papantos, roll call.
Commissioner Vito?
Here.
Commissioner Papantos?
Present.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Chairperson Horker?
Yes, Mr. Ferrolo, we had a discussion in executive session. Would you please present?
I will. Thank you,
Penalty.
President Horker. Relative to docket number 19-01, in re matter of prop station, the commission has discussed the evidence, and while for a first offense, the typical fine is $500, the commission has determined that an appropriate fine would be $250 because prop station has been in business since 1996, and this is their first violation. So relative to prop station, if I can get a motion to approve the following penalties: a $250 fine. Prop station shall pay its share of court reporter fees tonight. The licensee will submit proof of BATS certification for all managers and employees to the village clerk within 14 days. Shall also submit a copy of its written policy for the sale and service of alcohol within 14 days. Can I get that motion, please?
So moved.
Motion, Commissioner Vogel, second.
Second.
Commissioner Papantos, roll call.
Commissioner Vito?
Yes.
Commissioner Papantos?
Yes.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Chairperson Horker?
Yes.
The second matter is docket number 1902, hearing in the matter of Jazz Café, Inc. Jazz Café, Inc. first received its liquor license in Wheeling on April 19th of 2010. They've been in business for 9 years. This is their first violation. Given the shorter period of time, the commission discussed applying the standard fine for a first violation of $500. Additionally, Jazz Café, Inc. shall submit payment of their share of the court reporter costs, as well as proof of Bassett certification for all managers and employees, and a copy of their written policy for the sale and service of alcohol within 14 days. Can I get that motion, please?
So moved.
Motion,
Second.
Commissioner Lang, second.
Second.
Commissioner Kruger, roll call, please.
Commissioner Vito?
Yes.
Commissioner Papantos?
Yes.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Chairperson Horker?
Yes.
And our last matter was a hearing in the matter of DiAgostino's Pizzeria, Wheeling, Inc., docket number 19-03. This was the second violation of DiAgostino's in a short period of time. The last violation was in April of 2018, for which penalties were issued. Given that this is the second violation, the commission has discussed applying a fine of $1,500. DiAgostino's shall pay its share of court reporter costs, as well as submit proof of Bassett certification and for all managers and employees, as well as a copy of their written policy for the sale and service of alcohol to the village clerk within 14 days. And additionally, given the fact that this is the second violation within a short period of time, the commission is also suspending liquor service for DiAgostino's for 1 day, which day shall be May 6th. If someone can make a motion to approve those penalties.
So moved.
Motion, Commissioner Papantos, second.
Second.
Commissioner Lang, roll call.
Commissioner Vito?
Yes.
Commissioner Papantos?
Yes.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Chairperson Horker?
Yes.
President Horker, a written order will be prepared for your signature. That order will lay out all of the penalties and will be served on all of the license holders.
Thank you, Mr. Ferrolo. Are there any other questions on these issues? None. Item D, thank you all for coming. Sorry you had to be here.
Item D, annual renewal of liquor licenses 2019 to 2020.
Mr. Ferrolo.
This is,
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
This is the standard annual renewal of all liquor licenses within the community, with the exception of the single license, which appears on the agenda as item E. There are 4 conditions that apply to all liquor licenses. First being compliance with all orders of the Liquor Control Commission. Second, payment of all required fees. Third, the submittal in good order of all application materials. And finally, satisfactory background check results for all responsible parties. The reason these conditions exist is because the license technically do not expire until the end of the month. So with those 4 conditions, I can answer any questions and ask that any motion include those 4 conditions.
Questions from the commission? On my right, my left? There are no questions. I would be looking for a motion to approve with the conditions.
So moved.
Motion, Commissioner Lang, second.
Second.
Commissioner Kruger? Papantos? Maybe? I didn't see your mouth.
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner Kruger?
Commissioner,
Roll call.
Commissioner Vito,
Yes.
Commissioner Papantos?
Yes.
Commissioner Lang,
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel,
Yes.
Chairperson Horker.
Yes. Item E.
Item E, renewal of a liquor license for St. Joseph the Worker Catholic Church, 2019 to 2020.
Mr. Spondilis.
Thank you. As presented during item D, this is the same but for St. Joseph the Worker, which allows Commissioner Vogel to abstain from voting. Motion should approve the liquor license for St. Joseph the Worker with all conditions that all materials, including attachments, be submitted, all associated license fees be paid, and satisfactory background checks be completed for all responsible parties.
Any questions from the commission? Right, left. Need a motion for approval.
So moved.
Commissioner Papantos, second.
Second.
Commissioner Kruger, roll call, please.
Commissioner Vito,
Yes.
Commissioner Papantos?
Yes.
Commissioner Lang,
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Abstain.
And Commissioner Vogel, can you state for the record the basis for your abstention, please?
I'm the director of the Finance Committee.
Thank you.
And Chairperson Horker.
Yes. F.
F, consideration of request for Class D4 liquor license from W.H. Spears LLC, DBA Spears Bergen Burgers Beer. Spears Bergen Burgers Beer, yeah.
Mr. Spondilis.
Thank you. As stated in the title, before you this evening is a request for a Class D4 license, which is supplementary to the existing Class A license that the establishment already holds. The supplemental license would authorize sale of alcohol or consumption sale for bottled beverages off the premises in sealed containers for their business. I'm happy to answer any questions. The petitioners are in the audience and can also answer any questions.
Questions, Commissioner Pat?
Yes. The petitioner?
Papantos, sorry.
Hi.
Hello.
And your name? Sorry.
Sam Carter.
Hi, Mr. Carter. From what I read and watching the Plan Commission, you plan to mainly sell beer to guests at the West End, you think?
That's where we get 95% of people asking. It's from them.
Would
they
you
don't have liquor in the hotel. A lot of businessmen travel. They come in late night for a sandwich. They want to bring a beer back to their room with them. There's also wedding parties that will ask if they can bring a bottle of wine back with them, and that's basically the reason that we're requesting this.
Do you think you'll be selling any bourbon?
Not unless they're buying a full sealed bottle, and it's going to be at menu price, so I don't think anybody's going to want to pay that.
And that was my next question. Everything you sell, be it beer, wine, whatever, will be
Menu
sealed?
price, yes.
The price is up to you, but you will not open it for
We'll not
them?
open it inside the restaurant.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions from the commission? Commissioner Lang?
Yeah, just for clarification, so you are bourbons, whiskeys, and you would offer those for sale if someone asked?
They'd have to buy a full bottle.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Just as long as you get it all. I mean, if you're going just for beer and wine right now, it doesn't make sense. We'll go for all three.
Sure.
Okay.
Any other questions from the commission? Otherwise, Mr. Spondilis.
There are two conditions that I would ask any motion be based upon. One, passage of legislation by the Board of Trustees granting special use approval as applicable, and two, passage of an ordinance by the Board of Trustees authorizing the creation of a new Class D4 liquor license.
So moved.
Understands the conditions. That was Commissioner Papantos.
I'll second.
Second from Commissioner Lang. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Vito?
Yes.
Commissioner Papantos?
Yes.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Chairperson Horker?
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Liquor Commission meeting business is over. I need a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Commissioner Lang, second.
Second.
Commissioner Kruger, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Liquor Commission meeting is adjourned.
Now you have to wait a second.
Okay. We have to shift technology.
Okay.
I would like to call a regular meeting for Monday, April 15th to order. Roll call, please.
Trustee Vito?
Here.
Trustee Papantos?
Present.
Trustee Lang?
Here.
Trustee Kruger?
Present.
Trustee Vogel?
Here.
President Horker?
Here. You have before you the minutes for the meeting of April 1st, 2019. I need a motion for their approval.
So moved.
Motion, Trustee Kruger, second.
Second.
Trustee Vogel, roll call.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes, are there any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes this evening.
Thank you. Clerk Simpson, proclamations.
Okay. Who's first? Arbor Day. Arbor Day, April 26, 2019. In 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. This day, the last Friday in April, referred to as Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. Trees can reduce erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, reduce heating and cooling costs, moderate the ambient temperature, limit carbon dioxide, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. Trees are a renewable resource used in countless paper and wood products, providing wood for our homes and fuel for our fires. Trees in our city increase property value, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. Trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. President Horker, President of the Village of Wheeling, does hereby proclaim April 26, 2019 as Arbor Day and urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to plant, maintain, and protect our trees and woodlands.
Good to go.
National Public Safety Telecommunication Week, April 14th through April 20th, 2019. Emergencies can occur at any time that require police, fire, or emergency medical services. When an emergency occurs, the prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. The safety of our police officers and firefighters is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who telephone Wheeling's Emergency Communications Center. Public safety telecommunicators are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services. Public safety telecommunicators serve as a vital link for our police officers and firefighters by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them information, and promoting their safety. Public safety telecommunicators of the Village of Wheeling have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, the suppression of fires, and the treatment of patients. The dispatchers of the Village of Wheeling have exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their duties during the past year. Patrick Horker, President of the Village of Wheeling, does hereby proclaim April 9th through April 20th, 2019 as National Public Safety Telecommunications Week in Wheeling, in honor of the men and women whose diligence and professionalism help to make our village and citizens safe.
Thank you, Clerk Simpson. Ms. Raquel Rogers? You know, your department is the first voice that people hear when they're having that emergency and they call 911, and you have a very important job in determining where the emergency is, what the emergency is, and who's going out there. And this is just a small token of our recognizing the enormous service that you and your department perform for all of the residents of the village, as well as whoever might be calling on 911 otherwise. Well, just, thank you very much for all that you and your department do. And would you like to introduce anyone you have with us, or?
Rick Keller.
Be in a mic.
Yes, please come in.
It's not about me, it's about them.
Yes.
Wasn't expecting this, but thank you very much. Just want to bring something to everybody's attention. If you find yourself looking for something to research online, look up the 911 Saves Act. It's the House Bill 1629 that's looking to reclassify public safety telecommunicators as first responders rather than secretarial, clerical, or administrative. So.
Thank you.
I'd just like to take this opportunity to invite all of you to come by and visit the center. We're doing a lot of neat things this year, so if not now, sometime before the end of the year, we'd love to see you there.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appointments and confirmations. It is my honor and duty to make a recommendation to select someone to try to fill the shoes of Trustee Brady, who was unable to complete his term of office. And I hope I've selected someone who can do that. I know Mr. Ruffatto's qualifications are exemplary. The most difficult thing about me for this decision, one of the most difficult things about me for this decision was taking him away from the Planning Commission. We actually had a conversation about that where I expressed my concerns about how valuable he was there. Having said all of that, I would like to make a motion. I would be looking for a motion to accept my recommendation for the appointment of James Ruffatto to fill the vacancy of Trustee Brady effective May 6th. I need that motion.
So moved.
I will recognize Trustee Kruger for the motion and Trustee Papantos for the second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
I am abstaining. Jim Ruffatto is my brother-in-law, and to avoid any appearance of impropriety, I will abstain on this vote.
Oh, sugar.
Sorry.
Excuse me.
Oh,
Welcome, Jim.
didn't mean to rile you up that way.
I'm so sorry. Okay.
Sorry.
I had it all in. I wasn't expecting it. Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
I am so embarrassed. President Horker?
Yes.
Hey, at least it was sugar.
The administration of oaths will be done with the rest of the elected officials at our next regular meeting, May 6th. Thank you.
Congratulations, Jim.
Please. Thank you all for coming. Back to the business at hand. We have the citizens' concerns and comments. Clerk Simpson.
Okay, members of the public may address the board with comments regarding only those items that are relevant to village business. No citizen shall speak for more than 5 minutes without consent of the board. Members of the general public who wish to address the board must sign the request to speak form prior to the commencement of the public meeting. Mr. Neff.
Just as a reminder to the citizens, this is a time for the community to make comments and express their concerns and for the board to listen. This is not a time for dialogue, comments, or conversation.
Hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Steve Neff, longtime Wheeling resident and one of the founding members of Citizens Against Runway Expansion. What brings me here tonight is I noticed that one of the resolutions to be passed is the budget for Chicago Executive Airport. And I'm kind of looking forward to a lively discussion. There's an item in their budget regarding a new customs building that's proposed to be built in Prospect Heights for I don't know, I think they're looking to borrow $2.5 million for this project, and it's only generating $19,000 in income to the airport each year, if you can clarify that. I know they're in the House tonight. So, you know, Wheelings gets to sign off on the notes, Prospect Heights gets a pass, but the building gets built in Prospect Heights. I think there's another way they could finance it. I've always advocated that the airport go after landing fees to itinerant aircraft like so many other GA airports do across the country to, you know, finance their path of success. So I just want to hear a little bit about that. And if you didn't already know, I want to give everybody a heads up. Today's the day that they closed down Dundee Road in Northbrook. April 15th through October 31st, it's going to be closed at Shermer Road. So if you're looking to get on the Edens, you're going to have to find an alternate than Dundee. That's all for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Neff.
That's it.
Thank you. Staff reports. Mr. Janik.
Thank you. A couple items. One, you did just read the proclamation for Arbor Day, which is celebrated nationally on Friday. Next week on Tuesday at Mark Twain School at 10:30. The village is having a celebration of Arbor Day and Earth Day by planting a tree at the school. So that's at 10:30 if for some reason you want to come by. There'll be some kids there, some people from Public Works as well. Also,
Excuse me,
yes.
Director Janik, is that the 23rd?
That's correct.
Thank you.
23rd. Also, another reminder for May 4th, there's a electronic recycling and paper shredding event at Public Works from 9 to 12. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Janik. Consent agenda. Clerk Simpson.
Consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the village board and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered after all agenda items. 11A, resolution appointing a director and alternate director for the Solid Waste Agency of Northern Cook County. 11B, resolution establishing compensation plans for the Village of Wheeling for the period May 1st, 2019 through April 30th, 2020. Item 11C, resolution authorizing acceptance of the State of Illinois previous bid contract with CDW Government LLC for a one-year renewal of Microsoft Office 365 software licenses in the amount of $38,394. 11D, resolution accepting a publicly bid contract with Precision Pavement Markings Incorporated for the 2019 Pavement Markings Program in the amount of $30,583.82. 11E, resolution approving a contract with Schroeder & Schroeder Incorporated for the 2019 Sidewalk and Miscellaneous Concrete Removal and Replacement Program in the amount of $59,675. Item 11F, resolution approving a 5-year service agreement with Trans-US Incorporated for the Village Hall Train Chiller and Building Automation System in the amount not to exceed $69,000. Item 11G, resolution approving a 3-year contract with Alpha Paintworks Incorporated for fire hydrant sandblasting and painting services in the amount of $53,400. Item 11H, resolution authorizing the village manager to waive a portion of the 2019-2020 video gaming terminal fees for Philip Carpenter Post 66 Amvet Building Corporation, a not-for-profit entity. Item 11I, resolution waiving the fidelity and surety bond requirements for Wings of an Angel to conduct a raffle event for 1 year from April 22nd, 2019 to April 22nd, 2020. 11J, resolution adopting written design standards for small wireless facilities within the Village of Wheeling. 11K, resolution authorizing the village president and village clerk to execute a first amended addendum to the intergovernmental agreement with the Wheeling Park District regarding the lease of the Avalon Sienna Playground.
Does anyone have any questions or concerns about the items? If there are none, I would look for a motion to approve all of them as read.
So moved.
Motion, Trustee Lang, second.
Yes,
Anybody?
Second.
Trustee Papantos. Roll call, please.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes, we have no old business, so new business. Clerk Simpson.
13A, resolution renewing the Village of Wheeling's membership in the Chicago North Shore Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Mr. Malenefi, what is this?
Thank you, President Horker. In 2015, the village, with the encouragement of the Westin Chicago North Shore Hotel and Convention Center, the Village of Wheeling became a member of the Chicago North Shore Convention and Visitors Bureau. Our current agreement expires on June 30th, 2019. The attached resolution would approve a new one-year agreement. I've asked the Executive Director, Gina Speckman, with the Convention and Visitors Bureau to come and make a presentation to the Village Board and discuss all the great things they've been doing for us in encouraging patronage to all our hotels and restaurants and entertainment facilities in Wheeling. So with that, I'd like to introduce Gina Speckman.
Thank you, Mr. Malenefi.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me back. I was here in October, and I'm just going to give a quick update. Okay, let me see how I move this. Am I missing something here? Sorry. Okay. Okay, I'm just whipping through my... Now I have to go back. Sorry. No, I'm... Okay, guys, I'm going to start here, okay? Again, thank you for having me back. The Bureau has had a lot of changes even since October, since I was last here, and I'm going to go through some of what we do. For those of you that are not new, but just want a quick update, we are the economic development arm in the hospitality industry in the 8 communities we serve, and we do sales and marketing to bring additional businesses to Wheeling and the North Shore communities that are part of the Bureau. Our budget is $1.87 million annually. 60% of our income comes from the state of Illinois through hotel tax. We received a $233,000 increase in FY19. Our fiscal year mimics the state's, which begins in July. So that's been a great bonus to our member communities having that additional money. And you can see the 8 communities that are part of us. I'll learn this by the end. And it's important to know that the state has a 6% hotel tax, which is in addition to the local Wheeling hotel tax. Part of that, by law, has to come back to the local municipalities. And we also, in addition to having municipal partners, have business partners. So it's a true private-public partnership. Businesses in Wheeling also participate in our programs through membership and advertising. Here's a map, and I think it's interesting to note that pretty much every hotel within metropolitan Chicago, and that's over 75,000 hotel rooms, are represented and take advantage of the state's tourism program that brings this money back locally. So there's not a hotel on this map that's not covered by a certified CVB. We now have 7 on staff. We had 6 last time I talked to you. We have a new person handling meetings and small social events, which is really good for the Westin, Chevy Chase, Restaurant Row, hosting events and social meeting, weddings, reunions, things like that. Here are some new metrics that we're just debuting. They're part of our annual report that will be given at our annual tourism luncheon, which is on May 9th, but it's our metrics of how many leads we generated to the local hotels, how many site inspections and FAM trips, meaning meeting planners that were unfamiliar with Wheeling that we brought to the area. We just had one last Friday, our big annual corporate meeting FAM. And we attended 51 trade shows in the last year. And you can see hotel occupancy ended the year at 65.8%. $115.12 is the average daily rate, and the revenue per available room is $75.76. These numbers are up slightly from the year before. And with our budget, we do all of these events. We do all of these activities: trade shows, direct sales calls, sales missions, digital marketing, regular old print advertising, brochures, and then, like I said, the hosted trips when we bring in meeting planners that are considering the area, and public relations. This is a list of some of the trade shows that we go to on an annual basis. Some of them happen more than once a year, but some of them are regional, statewide, Midwest, national, and international. This is some of our print collateral, our visitor's guide, and the mapping guide that we distribute. Here is a page that's in our visitor's guide featuring Wheeling's Restaurant Row. This is some new advertising that we place. To the left is some of the leisure advertising, and again, Botanic Garden is close to here. A lot of people that stay in Wheeling go to the Botanic Garden and other major North Shore attractions. To the right is the presence we have on Cvent, which is the leading way that meeting planners now book their events. And so we have a major partnership with Cvent online, and it's a great way that we expose our hotels to the meeting planners. And we also act as intermediaries to a meeting planner that once they are interested in a hotel in our area, we step in and offer additional support. This is some of the places we place our advertising. It's business to business, consumer, local, regional, national. These are some partnerships we have in each of our different markets: meetings, group tour, and leisure. We partner with the leaders in the industry that are in each of these markets so that we can represent our area and be competitive with the business that we go after. So I'm not going to go through what all these are, but Choose Chicago, the State of Illinois, Visit Widget are leisure, Nolan Group, Helms Briscoe, Cvent are all in the meeting space, TripAdvisor, as you know, is a leisure site, etc. We just had our restaurant month in February. We had over 90 restaurants participating in it, and of course, Wheeling's Restaurant Row is well represented. We are in the middle of Museum Month, and we take advantage of spring break and a lot of people having time with 2-for-1 offers that the hotels can package with a rate and bring people to the area to go to museums with special offers. We have an e-newsletter that goes out on the first of every month that goes out just to it's a local North Shore. So it really allows us to get people from Evanston to come to Wheeling, or people from Northbrook to go to Skokie. A lot of people get information of what's happening locally in their municipalities, but they sometimes don't go to the community 1 or 2 neighborhoods over. So really, we try to be that regional information center. Our website has over 30,000 unique visitors a month. It's the landing page for all of our digital advertising campaigns. We also have blogs that we not only have written and post 3 or 4 of them every month, but we also do advertising to get them out. So it gets people to come to what we have to offer based on whatever they're interested in: golf, eating. Right now, we're really heavily into our Easter campaigns, and right after Easter comes one of the most successful campaigns that we do for our restaurants is Mother's Day. We also have an application on our website called Visit Widget. What it does is it lets the person that doesn't know the North Shore that well to plan their trip based on location and where things are. So they can see that, hey, maybe the Weston's closer to the Botanic Garden than a hotel in Skokie or Evanston. And they can plan their trip accordingly, because we take it for granted. We know where things are because we're from here. But a visitor sometimes needs a visual map to place what they want to do next to where they're staying. This is some metrics of our social media. We have 2 staff people that are just devoted to digital marketing. One does posting and one does just advertising of posts. And so we have 40,000 followers on Facebook, but we advertise to 170,000 people a week through our digital marketing campaigns. Instagram's very big for us, as is Twitter. These are some of the ads that we use to promote, events that we have. So again, We post it as content, and then we put money behind it and target it to the exact audience that would be the best to bring people there. And then we can see exactly who clicked on it. So it's a very strategic and accountable way of advertising. It's just very labor intensive. That's why we have a staff person devoted to it. Here's another one of Bob Chin's showing I don't eat that kind of food, but for people that love it, yay, great. I like seafood, but just not that kind. Too much information. We bring, as I said, meeting planners to our area. This is a picture of what we do with them. We bring them to the area. Some people we fly in, but we host them completely. We show them all the hotels. The hotels, we always have a theme, and each hotel does an amazing job adapting to that theme and welcoming the planners and showing them their properties. So this is really important, the hotels. We bring people that did not ever step foot into the village, let alone the Westin, so it's a great benefit to the hotel. We have free monthly networking events every month. They rotate amongst our member communities. We also have educational seminars to teach people all of the knowledge we have in the digital marketplace. A lot of our small businesses don't have the staff, time, or money to be active in social media, but they know it's important. They know that if they send us something that they want out in the world, that they have more than just the 100 people that are following their local page. They have the backing of our large social media reach, and that we guarantee to get their information out within 24 hours. And we also do traditional public relations. We host travel writers. We answer any kind of question on any kind of event happening in our area. We pitch stories based on our blogs and topics that are of interest. We do local, regional, and national media. And we have over 300 inquiries a year. And I think this is the end of my presentation. Tried to keep it short. If you have any questions or want to ask me about anything, because I know I went pretty quick today, I love questions.
Trustee Kruger, then Trustee Lang.
Thank you. Gina, can I call you Gina? You mentioned a lot. I saw the page with the Wheeling's Restaurant Row. Certainly, that is a big ticket item in town. Many of our amenities in the town center will be coming online during this membership period. I'm wondering what your plans may be to help promote this new exciting area of the town.
Yeah, we've already talked to them, and, when they're up and running, we already work with CMX very closely. They're in Old Orchard, so we work with them on a corporate level. They know us. They work with us not only to promote the movies, but, dining is a major experience that they want to promote separate from just the movie going, and they've been part of Restaurant Month and a lot of promotions all the promotions I talked about, they promote the restaurant part of it. So we know of all the businesses, and John keeps us abreast of what's coming on board, so we're very excited about it.
Great. The second thing I wanted to either remind you of or maybe let you know for the first time, but the Village of Wheeling is going to be celebrating their Quasqua Centennial this year.
What is that?
That is 125 years.
Okay, 100. I did not know that.
Yes. So.
No, that's very good to know.
Yeah, I looked
Is that this year or next year?
This year.
Okay. Well, you know what? I didn't know that, and I will let the state of Illinois know that, because...
So work closely with John and the Economic Development Team. I'm certain that he'll let you know of, some of the exciting things the village is planning on doing.
Thank you, because I did not know that. And I'll let the state know that, because they have been asking me about those things, too.
Great. That's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Kruger. Trustee Lang, and then Trustee Papp.
So I firmly believe that we should be part of this organization, and I believe it's helpful to Wheeling and our businesses. But can you attribute life with you? How many events? How many events have you been able to say we got that for Wheeling?
Well, in terms of the leads that we send to like the Westin, what we do is we really quantify the leads that we send to them. I mean, as the Westin can tell you, and they're very active partners with us, is if they get the business, is really up to them, not us. There's a lot of, they have a really big sales team, and a lot of times they can have pieces of business that they're already booked. So, we brought them that piece of business that was new to them. I mean, we have booked business with them, and we book business with them of all different sizes. And a lot of times they'll book a piece of business of someone. Friday we had a fam trip. Someone could have come through that hotel that is going to book a piece of business in 2 years from now. And we track that and they track that. So, in a given year, we don't, and the hotels know this, we don't track what they booked. We track our leads to them.
Okay, and so how many leads would you say you provide to the
490 this year.
Awesome.
But also, we also work, and one thing I wanted to bring up is they also have some public events, as does Chicago Executive Airport, as does Heritage Park. And they had the home show March 23rd and 24th. They had a wine event at Chicago Executive Airport. The producers of those shows reach out. They want our assistance in attendance building. Everyone who comes to that show comes to Wheeling, and it's our job for them to then see what else there is in Wheeling and to have them come to the area. So we also work really closely with Heritage Park and all these entities to help them with attendance building and helping people find out how to get here, what else to do here. Because sometimes those additional things make them have the decision to come to the event when they see all else there is to do in the village.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Trustee Lang. Trustee Papantos?
Thank you. Two of my questions have already been answered, and most importantly, the type of measurements that you do for success. You mentioned that there's 8 communities in the CVB. What are they? What are the communities?
Evanston, Skokie, Glenview, Glencoe, Prospect Heights, Northbrook, Winnetka.
Thank you. And how many other CVBs are in this area?
We have the certification to cover up to the Lake County border, and then Glenview, Prospect Heights, and Wheeling is as west as we can go, because there's a Chicago Northwest CVB.
Okay, so it's
basically like 294, Lake Cook, the lake, and then the city border.
Well, we're west of 294.
Yes, but it's like the corridor, the Milwaukee corridor, as we consider it.
What about
for the hotels.
Des Plaines or Mount Prospect?
Des Plaines is not covered by a Convention and Visitors Bureau. They probably would be covered by Rosemont if Rosemont would work with anyone but Rosemont, because Rosemont is the certified CVB there. And Mount Prospect currently is not a member of Chicago Northwest CVB.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Papantos. If there are no other questions or concerns, Mr. Malenefi, we do need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion, Trustee Lang, second, Trustee Kruger?
Yep.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for your time.
B, quick citizen.
Item 13B, ordinance granting variations from Title 21 signs of the Wheeling Municipal Code to permit an increase in permitted wall sign area, 365 West Dundee Road, City Works Eatery and Pour House, docket number 2019-4A and B.
Mr. Jennings, what do we have here?
Thank you, President Horker. The petitioner, City Works Eatery and Pour House, has requested permission to install signage on 3 elevations of the building. The sign code, while it allows signage on multiple elevations, didn't really anticipate buildings like this where you have high visibility of multiple sides of the building. So in this case, you have the west elevation, which faces the Village Green, Village Plaza in the town center, the north elevation facing Dundee Road, and the east elevation facing the parking area that primarily serves the building. So in this case, the Planning Commission has reviewed the requested variations to allow additional signage. The restrictions of the sign code, just for example, on the north elevation, would have allowed a maximum of 17 square feet of signage. The petitioner requested just over 59 square feet of signage. The east elevation would have been allowed 30 square feet of signage. Petitioners requested 90 square feet of signage on that elevation. The west elevation has already been approved. It's considered permitted signage and did not require a variation. The petitioner, I believe, is here if you have any additional questions. Planning Commission has recommended approval of this with the just the note that this did come to you briefly for a referral back to the Planning Commission due to an error on the exhibits that were presented at the time of the original recommendation.
Any questions or comments from the board? Trustee Papantos?
Thank you. I just want to clarify because the variance is quite large, but it's proportional to the size of the building?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Papantos. If there are no other questions, I would be looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion, Trustee Papantos, second.
Second.
Trustee Vogel, roll call, please.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes, it
Ready
actually
to
looks
vote?
very proportional. It's nice.
Didn't call my name?
Ms. Kruger?
Oh, I forgot Trustee Kruger?
I'm a yes, though.
Okay. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
11C?
Please.
Ordinance granting special use approval to permit packaged liquor sales within an existing sit-down restaurant, 723 North Milwaukee Avenue, Spears, Bourbon Beers, docket number 2019-7.
Mr. Jennings?
Thank you. This is the companion legislation to go along with the liquor license request that the Liquor Control Commission heard earlier this evening. Spears Bourbon is requesting permission to allow packaged liquor sales, primarily for guests of the Westin, which, as they indicated earlier, is the overwhelming majority of the demand for the service in this case. The zoning code does require a distinct special use approval for packaged liquor sales. We do have a few other establishments in town that have on-premises service as well as packaged liquor sales for off-premises consumption. The Planning Commission has recommended approval with the condition that the associated liquor license be approved in order to obtain the special use. I believe the petitioner left after the original review during liquor control. I can answer any questions, hopefully.
Trustee Lang?
Well, you know, I asked a question before, and now I'm going back to the Plan Commission and saw in there that one of the commissioners questioned if it's just wine and beer, no liquor. So what's the spirit of this? Thank you.
Well, I think he had indicated that the intention is to allow anything that is on the menu. They don't anticipate many customers would request an entire bottle of bourbon, but it would be possible under the liquor license that was requested.
Okay, so as long as it's nothing additional we have to do based on?
Not by the special use, no.
Okay.
Thank you, Trustee Lang.
Thank you.
Trustee Papantos?
And I just want to verify there's no special area for the merchandise to be exhibited. It's going to be in the storeroom just like anything else?
That's correct. They have not indicated any inclination to have a retail store area inside the business, no.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Papantos. If there are no other questions or comments, need a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion, Trustee Vogel, second.
Second.
Trustee Vito, roll call, please.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes. D.
Item D, 13D, motion to refer hearings on variations to reduce required parking and special use site plan approval of light motor vehicle repair facility, Chicago Auto Repair Ltd., 309 North Wolf Road, back to the Plan Commission, docket number 2019-8A and B.
Just need a motion to shuffle this back to the Planning Commission, Mr. Jennings?
That's correct. They produced some additional materials. They should have requested a continuance at the original hearing. They, I believe, just didn't realize technically how they should go about doing it. but they have produced additional materials that should be reviewed by the Planning Commission prior to being forwarded to the board.
Thank you. I need a motion to refer it back.
So moved.
Motion, Trustee Papantos. Second, Trustee Lang. Roll call.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
President Horker.
Yes. Item E.
Item E, resolution approving a proposal from Haeger Engineering LLC for consulting services involving the Eastchester Relief Storm Sewer in the amount of $44,500.
Mr. Janik.
Thank you. Public Works is proposing that the board consider a services contract from Haeger Engineering for engineering. This is for a relief sewer from Eastchester. Currently, Eastchester subdivision, which is approximately 33 acres in size, when it was designed, constructed, they do have detention facilities, but they drain, all their stormwater does drain north and then west and then east through the southern part of the East Dunhurst subdivision. The problem with that is that the East Dunhurst subdivision has never had, when it was designed, the pipe infrastructure in that subdivision has not been able to keep up with the amount of stormwater that is produced within Dunhurst. The fact that Eastchester drains into Dunhurst, Public Works believes that if we reduce the amount of water that flows through Dunhurst, possibly their pipe system will be able to better take care of their existing stormwater. This proposal is intended to divert the Eastchester stormwater in pipes through the school property, adjacent school property, and then through the adjacent Reynolds Corporation property to Echo Lake. From Echo Lake, it will then drain through the Hintz Road County Storm Sewer and onto the Des Plaines River. So the idea here is to reduce the amount of water that actually flows through Dunhurst. We are trying to reduce the impact of localized flooding in Dunhurst by doing this. It shouldn't affect Eastchester at all. But this is a study to produce construction drawings and get ready construction for the storm sewer. We've done preliminary work on whether this would work flow-wise, and it will. So the question here is whether or not you think it's a good idea for us to do this.
So basically, and I'm going to chime in first, so basically we're just going to bypass the southern part of East Dunhurst and get straight to Echo Lake, so the pipes wouldn't be quite so overloaded?
That's correct.
Is there, and I know this is all coming out of the Stormwater Fund, is there any point in the future where it would be possible to put in a more appropriate size stormwater system through, or would we be tearing up through the south part of East Dunhurst, or would we just be tearing through people's yards?
No, we are looking at that as well. We have requested and we have received some designs for new storm sewer in not just east or south East Dunhurst, but also the north part of East Dunhurst, to relieve the pressure on some of those existing pipes. This project will give us a better idea of exactly what the situation is in Dunhurst just by itself and not having exterior flow go into it. We've done some of this already in East Dunhurst. We've also done work on downstream areas in East Dunhurst, larger pipes that leave East Dunhurst that go toward Heritage Park, for instance. They have helped, but we think that reducing the amount of water will also help the system. So we are doing that. We are looking at that as well.
Thank you. Trustee Lang, you had a question?
Yeah, this is a fantastic idea to provide relief to East Dunhurst. And so it flowing into Echo Lake and then Echo Lake connected to Ridgefield, correct?
No, actually, Ridgefield flows into Echo. Echo then flows into the Hintz County, the Cook County storm sewer in Hintz Road, and that flows east to the Buffalo Creek and then into the Des Plaines River.
Okay. So there's no issue at all with Ridgefield getting excess water?
Absolutely no.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Lang. Trustee Papp and then Trustee Krueger.
Thank you. And I apologize that I didn't ask this question earlier because you probably don't know the answer, but Why was it designed this way in the first place?
I can't answer that question.
It seems, knowing where Eastchester is, that we really took a roundabout route to get the water to where we want it to go.
Well, it was, I mean, I could tell you one reason why. They did it because it was the easiest location for the water to go. But what they didn't take into account for some reason was the size of the existing storm sewers in Dunhurst itself. It just wasn't designed to take in additional water. It was an easy connection to where it is. But I'm not saying this is going to solve Dunhurst problems, but for sure, when we reduce the amount of water that goes through those pipes, it will have some effect. I'm
It'll
not
have a
sure
positive
what it will,
effect.
but it will have some positive, yes.
Will it also have a positive effect on Meadowbrook West?
It's very possible because currently this water, it goes through Dunhurst, then it goes across school property, gets to Wheeling Road. Wheeling Road goes north to the low flow channel, which goes into Heritage Lake under the train tracks. From Heritage Lake, it then proceeds down into Buffalo Creek. Sometimes that creek does rise high enough so that the water does surcharge into the Meadowbrook neighborhood. So there's no question that we will be reducing the amount of water that goes in Buffalo Creek as well, at least the north part of Buffalo Creek.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Papantos. Trustee Kruger?
Thank you, President Horker. Director Janik, can the stormwater that currently flows into the East Dunhurst area, I'm sorry, the south side of East Dunhurst, that goes through pipes, right?
That's right.
So will those, can we assume that that flow, those pipes will be abandoned once this improvement is implemented?
There's actually no, the pipe will not be abandoned. That pipe that you're talking about is just a very short piece of pipe that's going to go through a side yard in one of the houses in Eastchester. There's 33 acres of area in Eastchester. This is going to take 30 acres of the drainage away from Dunhurst. So there still is a small 3 acre area that's going to drain to Dunhurst, but it's a very short piece of pipe. There's no reason to abandon it.
So basically, these white lines that are on the aerial shot, that's the existing flow?
That's correct.
And that will not be abandoned, but it will be, less water will be flowing through it because the bulk of Eastchester is going to go towards Echo?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Vogel?
Mark, the pipes that are in East Dunhurst now, the outlets, how big are those?
The outlets?
Yeah.
Well, there's one main, the main pipe there's two main pipes that leave East Dunhurst. One goes through the school property, the Twain property, across the open area there going to Wheeling Road. That pipe is approximately, I think, 30 inches in diameter. We also put in a new 36 and 48-inch pipe over on South Wayne, where we did a project last year. You might remember we did a project at the corner of Bridget and Wayne. The water that leaves that location goes to a 36 and then a 48. So that's helped water leaving there. This is going to relieve that pipe that goes across the school property and goes down Green and then the school property to Wheeling Road.
But do you have plans, long-term plans to replace the other 30-inch?
Right now, we don't. We don't. We could, but we are looking, as President Horker mentioned, are we looking at anything else? We are looking at the rest of East Dunhurst, and we're still looking at that.
Okay, thank you.
We actually just purchased, or we actually are purchasing some monitors for our storm sewer system, so we can locate some individual monitors in the pipes to find out how full they are and see what effect some of these improvements are doing.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Vito.
Yeah, I bet you didn't think you'd get all these questions on this. One of your discussion points, and you've kind of reiterated it, and I'm just a little confused engineeringly and I guess hydraulically. If we're diverting all this water, why don't you think there's going to be a significant decrease in the flooding in East Dunhurst?
The reason why is because Dunhurst has so much impervious surface. The houses, the lots are very small. There's a lot of driveways obviously a lot of roadways. There's no detention facilities at all. There's no basin to hold the water and then contain it and then slowly let it go. So it's just hard for me to know exactly how much effect this is going to have. It does sound like a lot, 33 acres, and we hope it has a large effect. But the fact that the pipes are relatively small in Dunhurst, there's a lot of impervious surface, and that's the reason why.
So you're just managing expectations, but you assume there's going to be some reduction.
That's correct.
Assume. Okay. And then just in terms of water flow, this isn't really germane. So Echo Lake flows south, Ridgefield flows north, but then, like, how does that work? So if Ridgefield's pond's flowing into Echo Lake, how does Echo Lake then flow south into Hintz Road?
There's a 48-inch outflow pipe at the very southeast corner of Echo, okay, and it's unrestricted, which means as much water as can go through that 48-inch pipe is leaving. And there's approximately 11-foot drop between that pipe and Buffalo Creek. So you can imagine it's not that far a distance. So the water is rushing through that pipe really fast, going to Buffalo Creek. So the reason why I'm saying there's not going to be a hydraulic problem to, say, Ridgefield, a backwash into Ridgefield, is because the water that goes through that pipe, it can take as much water as that lake is going to give it. And we've been watching that 48-inch pipe. We watch it all the time when there's storms, when there's rainfall events. We know how high that's going to get. So all this improvement on South Wheeling Road, the outlet at Echo Lake, it's theoretically going to work much better than it is right now.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Trustee Vito. If there aren't, Trustee Lang.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. It's flooding and Wheeling.
Dumb question, but is there any way of connecting East Dunhurst to Echo Lake?
No. And the reason I say that is just because of the grades. It's just lower than, say, Eastchester. Eastchester can flow into Dunhurst, but Dunhurst can't flow to Eastchester because
Does that even help with lift stations or anything like that to?
No, I just don't think so. I don't think so. No. I mean, right now, I don't believe that's possible.
Okay.
If there are no other questions, we need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion, Trustee Vogel, second.
Second?
Trustee Kruger, roll call, please.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
President Harker.
Yes. Item E, Clerk Simpson.
11F, resolution accepting a contract with Builders Paving LLC for the 2019 motor fuel tax street improvement program in the amount of $2,450,000. Did I say that right?
$2,045,000.
Okay, I said it right, okay.
There we go. Mr. Janik.
Thank you. This is a contract, a publicly bid contract that we just received. We had 4 bids for this work. This is an annual project that we undertake. It combines motor fuel tax money and general fund money in the CIP to repair roads. Builders Paving was a low bidder this year, approximately $2 million. We intend on doing streets in Tahoe, cul-de-sacs in Lexington, east and west, Chelsea Cove, and then the Denoyer area.
Questions or comments from the board? Crickets.
So moved.
Motion, Trustee Kruger, second.
Second?
Trustee Papantos, roll call, please.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
President Harker.
Yes.
Item G, ordinance amending the Wheeling Village Code to add Chapter 4.95 amusement tax.
Mr. Monshane.
Thank you, Mr. President. As the board will recall, during the 2019 budget process, staff recommended that the board consider implementing an amusement tax on entertainment uses in Wheeling. The ordinance that is before you tonight would implement a 4% gross receipts tax on entertainment uses such as movie theaters, bowling alleys, trampoline parks, or spectator performances like live theater, opera, or comedic acts. It would exclude or exempt from taxation any units of government. So if the park district or a school district put on a play or some other similar type of performance, they would not have to pay the tax. The reason that staff is recommending a 4% tax is because we surveyed 26 communities in the Chicago area to determine if they had amusement taxes. And we found that 18 of the 26 that we surveyed did. And in those cases, the tax ranged from 3% to 9%. And 8 communities had no tax at all. 4% was the most common tax of the communities that impose one, and that's what we're recommending tonight. So based on what other communities' experiences have been, we expect that a 4% tax would generate about $80,000 a year in revenue for the general fund. And although we can't put a number to it, we think that a significant amount of that would be paid by people outside of Wheeling, coming to Wheeling to enjoy the entertainment opportunities here. So if approved, this tax would go into effect June 1st, and I can answer any questions that you may have.
Mr. Spondelis.
Thank you. I'd just like to, Director Monchain, can you talk about the 1% that goes back?
Sure. We, as we do with our current food and beverage tax, we give businesses who collect the tax an opportunity to receive a 1% commission. It's 1% of the amount of the tax they collect each month, and that's designed to help offset some of their costs in administering the tax.
And one other thing to add to what Director Monchain said, of the communities that don't have a tax, it is most often the case that the reason they don't have it is because they didn't have a need for it, just like the Village of Wheeling didn't have a need for it prior to our current developments. Thought that was an important thing to add.
Thank you. Questions from the board? Trustee Vogel.
What type of payments, monthly, quarterly?
We would collect it monthly, similar to what we do with food and beverage.
Okay.
Yeah, I just have a comment. I just think it sends the wrong message to CMX, who we've been waiting to have come into town for a long time. It's basically, welcome, here's a new tax we're implementing for you. Also, I mean, it hits Jeffrey Lanes, which I think is the only other company or business in town that would be hit. They've been here forever, and it's just kind of a kick in the pants. So for those reasons, I'm going to be a no on it.
Fair enough. Any other questions or comments? Are you looking for a motion to approve?
Yes.
So moved. Second.
Motion, Trustee Papantos, second, Trustee Kruger. Roll call, please.
This is
F. No, G, sorry.
Wait, it's G, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, go ahead. Trustee Vito?
I gave you warning, so it's a no, not a yes.
I knew it was a no, so I didn't.
Oh, there you go. Good. No.
Trustee Vito?
No.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Monshane. Item H.
Item H, resolution approving the fiscal year budget, 2020 budget for Chicago Executive Airport.
Mr. Abbott, come on up and say hi.
Yes, sir, President Horker. Trustees, good evening. Thank you for considering us on your agenda tonight for the budget. As a reminder, the IGA requires the airport board to approve a budget, but it's only a recommendation to both the village and the city for final approval. So the airport had a workshop for the budget a couple months ago. They approved the budget at their board meeting, and then it comes to you. You're actually first this year. Sometimes it's the city. So you're the first one. It'll go to the city next Monday, Jason? And so Jason, the finance director, is here with me to help me answer any questions. I can just give you kind of a big overview of the budget. Once again, we're meeting our requirements to fund operational requirements, capital requirements, and then contribute to some of our capital funds in the budget. So, and also meet the 3-month contingency that's required by the business plan. So that's kind of a high-level overview. It's a pretty typical budget that you've seen in the past. It's in the black. So we could take any questions, or Jason can kind of dig into any more details that you might like about the budget.
Questions from the board? Trustee Papantos?
Thank you. Let's start with the customs facility.
Sure.
What happens if we don't have a new customs facility?
Yeah, it's a good question. That's been asked before. Let me give you maybe a little history and why we have customs and this whole project coming up. The airport's provided customs for almost a couple decades now. We're a pretty busy port when it comes to customs. We do more customs operations than our colleague airports kind of combined. So we used to do, I think it's down to about 480 customs ops a year. So it's a pretty important business model for us. I think business, I've asked the FBOs would really suffer if we didn't offer that service. So it's one of those services that as an executive airport, you should be offering to your customers. That being said, CBP comes down with the requirements, but they're kind of unfunded requirements. So
Who does? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Customs and Border Patrol.
Thank you.
Yes. So a little more history. CBP has come out with new requirements that your facility has to meet. Our facility is a little too small for what they require. And they're not just hitting Chicago Executive. Our colleague airports, DuPage and Waukegan, have been hit with the same requirements to bring our facilities up to standard. Our current facility sits within the Atlantic complex over on the northwest corner of the airport. Operationally, the customs officer used to visit the airplane no matter where the airplane went on the airport. That changed a couple years ago, so logistically it's been kind of challenging for the other FBOs to have to go get their customers at Atlantic and then bring them back to their facility and so forth. So since the airplane has to go to the customs facility every time now, and we're having to meet new requirements for customs, we could have either renovated the current space and made it bigger and accommodate their needs, or take the opportunity to build a standalone facility that's sort of in a neutral spot for all 3 FBOs so that it's more equitable to the FBOs. So we went through the process of sitting down with our engineers and planners and looking at the airport and really looked at every spot in the airport where a new customs facility can go. It just so happens the best 2 spots are on the Prospect Heights geographically on the side of the airport. Nothing really makes sense right now on the north side. That being said, it's not really a profit center for us necessarily, like a T-hanger and so forth. It's not going to generate property taxes. It's not going to generate sales taxes. So there's really no revenue generated off of this facility. Now, we do charge enough where we cover our costs. And this year, we're raising the rates pretty significantly because we're going to have to build this building. So it's a pretty big capital expense for us. So we're doing a combination of revenue reviews. We brought our rates up to where they probably should be. We increasing fuel flowage. That's our other big revenue source is we get a certain percentage of each gallon of fuel sold in the airport. So that's going to help cover the cost. So it's sort of a combination of revenue moves to cover the cost of the facility. And it's going to be done, we haven't nailed down exactly how we're going to structure the financing of this facility, but it looks like it'll be a combination of cash reserves and probably borrowing for the rest.
What's the size of this building?
Right now, it's about 4,000 square feet. We're working with our architects to get it to get it down to closer to 3,000 square feet. That's going to require working with Customs and Border Patrol.
Will that reduce the price?
Oh, yeah.
Because right now, I believe because I do attend the airport meetings,
Sure.
My calculations were something like close to $800 a square foot, or it was over $700 a square foot. And that seems like a whole lot of money.
Yeah, you know, the requirements for this type of facility, we're basically building a jail and a secure IT center, and it's just, if we were to build it ourselves with our specs, we can control the cost a little bit more, but CBP kind of dictates what goes into this building and the facilities and so forth. So we're sort of strapped on that part of it. That's why we're kind of trying to reduce the square footage and get it down as manageable as possible.
You mentioned that DuPage and Waukegan have custom facilities and that the FBOs basically want this, that it's convenience for the FBOs, for their customers to come in.
Sure.
Why aren't the FBOs kicking in?
They will be kicking in.
Substantially.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be doing that with increased fuel flowage. The customer that actually uses the facility will be paying more for the service. It gets a little, and we did ask that question. Sometimes the FBO, it makes more sense if an airport has a sole FBO for them to put in a lot of capital into a facility like this. Waukegan's paying for it themselves. DuPage, because they are the FBO, they're paying for it themselves. It gets a little tricky when there's four parties that put into it, and then in the custody and management of it and so forth. So we feel this is the best setup for us going into it.
Okay.
Before you go beyond.
I'm sorry.
Continuing with that same vein of talk.
Sure.
Is there any state or federal funding?
Unfortunately, no.
No.
There's no federal state funds that go into this facility. Now, this is going to require maybe an apron extension that could be eligible for federal or state funding. So there are portions and site work and so forth, but the actual building itself is, there's no monies available outside airport money.
But that apron extension is not included in the 2.5 million?
Well,
or is it?
No. You take that apron out and it reduces that total cost, so.
Balloon payments on two of your debts, the land purchase and T-hangers, are due May 2020, so that's fiscal year 2021.
Yeah, that'll be next fiscal year.
That's next fiscal year, so it doesn't appear in this budget. However, it's going to hit you hard right at the end of this budget. Where do you plan to get the money for that?
Yeah, and we're not going to wait till the next fiscal year budget to start those conversations. That'll be a conversation we're going to have with the board probably in the next few months. We're going to get way ahead of that requirement. Looking at all options, maybe refinancing portions and so forth. You want to jump in here?
Yeah, we've already started talking to the bank that holds the loans about what options we have and try to talk to them now before interest rates go up again, so we can see what's best for us and bring it to the board and see what they want to do.
I mean, my concerns are you're going to take more debt for this customs facility, and I'm going to make an assumption that since we're home rule and Prospect Heights not, we're the ones on the, I guess, the co-signers, for lack of a better term, on debt.
Yeah, for any debt the airport takes on, at least only the village is eligible to sign off on that.
Unless Prospect Heights goes to referendum.
Right, yeah. It's sort of like when we built the T-hangers on the south side, it was the same situation.
Right, that which we have the balloon payment coming up on. Mr. Mondeshane, does this affect our bond rating at all?
It does not.
Thank you. In your budget packet, you state provisions have been made for up to 7% merit increase. And I will be, that sounds great. I'm sure all airport employees are worth a 7% merit increase as our village employees, but that's unrealistically high. Why is that number even in there?
Jason, you want to take this one? No. It's not for me, unfortunately.
No, I understand that.
Yeah, there's a mathematical reason why.
And so the budget itself doesn't use a 7% increase. The merit increases are at 3%. The old wording was 5%. There is a certain situation that is potentially eligible this upcoming fiscal year, without getting into specific employees that could earn a merit increase close to that amount.
Talking one person or a group of employees? All right.
Yeah, with that.
I mean, this was in the packet you presented to us, and it is an exceptionally high number.
Correct, and that would be for, potentially for one specific employee, based off of a
Contract.
agreement.
So is it safe to say that the aggregate amount of merit increases is not 7%, and perhaps the wording was not accurate?
Yes, that is safe to say. Thank you, John.
It's budgeted at a 3%.
Up to 3%. That's not even guaranteed, yeah.
So your wording should have been approximately 3% or 3.5%?
Yeah, we could probably word that, make that correction in the narrative.
Thank you.
Sure.
Sorry. So according to your data, customs is supposed to be more of a break-even type situation? Or that's what you had in the...
Historically, that was the case. With the new revamped fees, we're looking to have U.S. Customs cover not just its operational expenses, but the debt service expenses as well. So that way, we are never going to, we're budgeted to not eat into our general fund. Between the increase in the customs, we also started, we revamped the whole thing. We increased base fees, started charging for international waste, started charging more for overtime. So between those and then an additional 1.5 cents of fuel flowage being earmarked for this facility, we are budgeted to cover, like I said, operational and the debt service expenses.
What is international waste?
It's the fancy word that they use for waste that needs to be disposed by U.S. Customs.
Yep. That, if you bring in a...
Okay, is it special waste?
They treat it as such. It's an agreement between the USDA and U.S. Customs and Border Protection. It needs to be handled a certain way, so there's a chain of custody involved.
It's like fruit and
you don't bring in fruit flies
vegetables
from-
that are brought in by people on airplanes here. It all has to be destroyed, burned.
Yes.
And so they
So
charge
even a
lot
piece
more.
of paper, or is it everything, or is it just?
All handled together.
Yeah, it's all handled together and bagged together, yeah.
Okay. But we are recovering that fee?
We're recovering that fee.
Thank you. What's going to be the total cost of the master plan?
You know, this last scope has been reduced because the scope reduced. So, this last phase will be, we'll see some savings on that. Total, since we started phase 1, 2, and 3, over 1.5?
The resolutions passed total $1,557,500. Those were a do not exceed, so we shouldn't approach that.
Now, at the end of the master plan, when we end up getting an airport layout plan, that becomes eligible, federally eligible for reimbursement once we do a project associated with it. So if the master plan produces an ALP that shows a development or a new taxiway or something, and we do that, it sort of triggers eligibility for us to seek 90% of that total back, so.
How quickly are we going to move on that?
As quick as we can, yeah.
Trustee Papantos, if I can jump in. Yeah. On that, I think what you're looking for is, since the runway extension portion is now gone.
Right.
It should eliminate a lot of that budget amount for this master plan. Is that what you're asking?
Well, I want that. I want to know how high we're going to end, because I'm assuming we've made payments to CMT throughout all this.
Yeah, for phase 1 and 2, those were completed.
And how much has been paid to them already?
I could get that number to you. I don't want to misspeak. I believe phase 1 was 197,500. Phase 2 was 350,000, and I believe for phase 3, we're right around 400,000 right now. But I want to verify before I.
So we're roughly at 900,000 to $1 million?
Pretty close.
Roughly.
Okay. One of the projects on your B list is the widening of 1230. My understanding is that if 1230 gets widened, which is something that some of the corporate jet owners would, or pilots would appreciate, especially Allstate, that would also help alleviate some of the noise north and south of the airport, both Wheeling, Prospect Heights, and Mount Prospect. But it's a B list. Why is that a B list and not an A list? Why aren't we pushing to move that quicker and faster?
Sure. It's just because it's listed on the B list doesn't, well, it's a timing issue. We're getting a rehab of 1230 this year. That project was already awarded. So it's on the B list because realistically, if we were awarded the project, it wouldn't happen until next fiscal year anyway. But we still list it on there because it's on a program called the Supplemental AIP Grant Program. Projects on that program have not been selected yet, but if they are, if it's listed, we could go ahead and pursue the project. It is a priority for us. You know, we had a meeting with at least one operator at the airport that operates a certain family of aircraft, and that's kind of why we're pursuing this, is because they could utilize that runway more often in crosswind situations. The 75 feet wide runway is sort of limits crosswind operations, so 100 feet would help out a lot. So if the project is awarded, it could divert some corporate traffic onto that runway and off the main runway.
Thank you.
Sure.
And one last question, sorry. Fuel tax. Right now, it's sitting in an escrow account someplace, doing nothing for anybody?
Yeah, the state is still trying to kind of figure out what exactly is going to happen with those funds. It's an FAA requirement that came down to all states, not just Illinois. Illinois is trying to catch up a little bit on the situation, so it's unclear whether that money is going to the Division of Aeronautics to be used on state and local programs, whether a certain city in Illinois is trying to, recapture most of that to do some projects, which we'll be fighting that. So it's really unclear where those funds are going. The airport, I don't think is going to get a check from the state or the feds to do what they want with the money. It's going to be handled at the state level. We'll push to use it for airport and community-related projects and so forth, but it's just not clear yet where that money is going. It's not something the airport is pursuing or asking for or recommended. This is a federal and state issue that we're kind of caught in between a little bit. So as soon as we know exactly where those funds are going, we'll pass that information along. But right now it's sitting in Springfield, kind of.
Well, I think my frustration with it is, it's kind of like somebody took money and put it under their mattress and isn't going to touch it.
Yeah.
It's not earning interest. It's not doing anything for the airport. It's certainly not doing anything for Prospect Heights and Wheeling where it used to. It's frustrating.
I would agree.
And what do we do?
Yeah, as Director Abbott said, the one thing that we don't know where the money is going. The one thing we do know is it's not coming back to the municipalities. There was a bill that passed the House as recently as last week or so. It is now going to the Senate. It does us no favors. We oppose the bill. But I think that's the one takeaway, is that no matter what happens with it, while the state's figuring it out, we know that it's not coming back to us.
And if it does go back to the airport, can we look at sound attenuation programs?
Actually, we're pursuing that anyway. The board on their agenda for next week has a contract for a consultant to start that program. So regardless of where this fuel sales tax money goes, the airport is pursuing that program on its own. So we'll dedicate a couple $100,000 a year right now into that program to start the sound attenuation of homes north and south of the airport.
And is that matched by federal funds?
Yeah, that's a federally, the FAA participates in that project to the tune of 90% federal and 10% airport dollars.
And Jamie, talk about the scope of that, because it's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been talking about this for well over a year, and we're ready to sign contracts.
Yeah, we've
this week on this and get this thing rolling. So
yeah, it's been a lot of work getting to this point.
there's a lot of money involved in this.
But working with the FAA on the scope and getting the contract and the agreement nailed down, we're finally there where it's being presented next week to the airport board to start the pilot program. The consultant, the project manager, will actually move to the community, set up a permanent office. We'll get an educational campaign going to educate the citizens of Wheeling and Prospect Heights on the program. The first pilot program will choose 10 homes. We're going to try to do it equitably, north side, south side, and it'll be a pretty exciting first year. Actual construction is not going to start right away. We've got a process to develop a policies and procedures manual, determine eligibility. So there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that has to be done before we actually start going into people's homes and helping to alleviate the sound inside the home. But yeah, it's pretty exciting. We're pretty far, and we're really close to signing a contract to get this program going. So it'll be a good thing. Once we get it going, we'll make sure to publicize it well enough. So and we'll come back to you if we need to update you on the progress of the program.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Trustee Papantos. Any other questions? Left, right. Mr. Lang, anything?
No, I jumped in enough. Thank you.
It was a nice conversation. I wasn't going to stop anybody. If there are no other questions or comments on the issue, we do need a motion to approve.
Excuse me, Mr. President, can we have a motion to approve with the condition that the merit increase language is corrected?
I think that's an excellent idea. Are you making that motion?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Need a second?
I'll second.
Take your time, y'all. Trustee Lang.
Should I do roll call?
Please.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos? Yes. Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Official communications.
I have nothing.
John? Oh, Trustee Krueger, please.
I do. Thank you. I know that we had a celebration earlier, proclamation regarding Telecommunications Week, and we've certainly celebrated our blue dispatch area, but I wanted to give a shout out to the 911 Regional Emergency Dispatch Center in Northbrook, which is our red center where all of our EMS and fire suppression calls go. Wheeling is a part of a 14-member community consortium, and there are 20 PSTs over there that take all of the fire and EMS calls for 14-member communities, including Wheeling. So I want to wish them a happy National PST Week, because they take care of our red side of the business. So that should do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Krueger. Mr. Spondilis.
Thank you. I just wanted to take the opportunity to acknowledge, congratulate, and thank our Assistant Village Manager, Mike Crotty, who just completed his tenure as the president of the NPELRA organization, which is the National Public Employee Labor, what? Employer, I have to count National Public Labor, and figure it out. His being elected to this position, I think, speaks volumes to his professionalism, rubs off on the entirety of the Village of Wheeling, as he has spent the last year traveling to different PELRAs throughout the country, representing the Village of Wheeling as president of the organization. And it was a great task for him to complete, and I wanted to give him fair acknowledgement of that prestigious appointment.
Thank you, Mr. Strondelis. Got all the letters?
Yeah.
What exactly is the name?
All right, write this down, John. It's the National Public Employer Labor Relations
See, I went L
Association.
first.
It's those of us who negotiate labor contracts for you with the unions that we represent.
Simple.
Easy.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, officers, for being here tonight in support of the 911 operators, officers, soon-to-be officers, operators. If there are no other, Trustee Papantos.
Thank you. I just want to welcome soon-to-be Trustee Ruffatto. Looking forward to working with you, and I'm sure the Plan Commission will be in good hands no matter what, and we'll miss your guidance, but I'm sure they can carry on without you. Congratulations to Joe, Dave, and Ray. I think it's a testament of the good things that are happening in our town, and I'm looking forward to the next 2 years working with you. And thank you, Director Janik, for letting us know that Arbor Day will be celebrated at Mark Twain next Tuesday. I've been to quite a few of them. It is really fun to watch the kids plant the tree and you know what they do. They really get into this. So if you have time, get on out to one of the schools and see it happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Papantos. Anyone else? All right. You have before you the bills for March 28th through April 10th, 2019. I do need a motion for their approval.
So moved.
Second. Motion, Trustee Kruger, second, Trustee Lang. Roll call, please.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes, we do have an executive session this evening for the purposes of pending, probable, or imminent litigation, as well as the review of minutes lawfully closed under the Open Meetings Act. I need a motion to recess into executive session.
So moved.
Motion, Trustee Vito, second.
Second.
Trustee Kruger, roll call, please.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes, meeting is recessed. Thank you all for sharing your evening with us.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to need a bio break.